Now, we reached to the last session. So, whatever the queries, etc., during the panel discussion, you can have that one. And now, for the panel discussion, I request Dr. A. Ramarao to coordinate this session and make this session more attractive by inviting the good people. Thank you.
I have noticed is around informing the industry about how the nuclear is different from the conventional plant, and all the talks that were decided for this team meeting revolved around informing you how nuclear has to be seen in terms of the conventional plant. Every slide, every information provided to you in the last 2 days has years of experience and years of hard work. So this is built on several people working for decades in PCIL and atomic energy. So the last part, the panel discussion, is also around the topic of aspirations and expectations of Indian industry. So we had formerly planned to have Anil Parabji as the chairman, but then he came yesterday and gave a good talk on Shanti and what we can do in support of Shanti, under Shanti, and he talked good about it. So in this panel, I will request Dr. Grover to be chairman of this session. I invite Dr. Grover, Dr. Shri S.A. Bhardwaj, Shri R.Raghavan to come and take their seats, please. Shri RanjaySharan ji. And I think we can. Yeah, sir. One more. And I will invite my friend Dinesh Shukla as one of the members. Industry से कोई नहीं है, नीरज नहीं है, राघवन है, Yeah, I will also invite Mr. Mujumdar of Kirloskar to join the panel. नहीं, ऐसा मत करो, चेयर Sir, बैठे. So this learned panel doesn't need any moderation because there is no moderator in this discussion. We are all thermalized in the last 2 days, so no moderation. I will request Dr. Grover to carry on with the panel discussion, and he will also give the concluding remarks of the panel discussion. Thank you very much.
Yes, good afternoon, and this is the last session of this particular theme meeting, and still we have good presence. So these are the people who are really interested in the subject. So I expect a lively discussion. And I came in when Shri Shukla was speaking, and he was referring to SMRs, and no application has come to AERB so far. Here I just want to tell you one additional piece of information. This appeared in NucNet, which is the magazine which provides information about the latest in nuclear industry. NucNet of 13th February 2026 about the talk between NuScale, which is trying to build integral reactors, and Romania. The cost was given there. Romania says they are trying to negotiate for 6 reactors of NuScale, and the cost which was given, the Romania's Prime Minister was asked about the project cost. He says, as I remember, it is fairly big sum, US $6 to 7 billion. Divide this by the total cost, 77 megawatt into 6 units. If we use the lower of this part, 6 to 7, it comes to 116 crores per megawatt. And you heard yesterday CMD NPCLs telling that latest reactors have cost 17 crores per megawatt and the new reactors will be of the order of 21 crores. Now, I think I will not make any further remark. Compare 21 crores to 116 crores. And then he also says, given the very large amount of money, the complexity of such projects, and the technology in early days, I estimate we will not see the investment immediately. Already these integral reactors by NuScale were Utah Municipal Corporation body, they wanted to buy it. They cancelled the order, and so many things have happened after that. And this is the latest information on 13th February, just a few days back. I think there are many in between. I will not go through that detail. But rather than, I think, our speaking, I will request questions from the audience, particularly those who are from industry. Maybe you will start, Mr. Raghavan, with your question itself or any remark.
Question, I will start with the remark, because the topic of today, this panel discussion is aspiration and expectations from the industry. So from the aspiration side, I would say the private players, mainly from a industrial player. So they want to decarbonize their industrial operation, mainly hard to abate sector or high energy intensive sector like steel, aluminium, copper. So how to decarbonize? That is the aspiration for the private industry. They want huge amount of power for their industrial operation, for their business, I would say. So because since these businesses are global businesses, they have to export their product to Europe, United States, and Western countries. So they want to have green, clean power for their operation. So the aspiration is how to get clean, green power, okay, at the same time. The expectation, I would say, the next part of that expectation is how to get that at affordable price. So when we say nuclear, everyone is interested in nuclear. Every industry is interested in nuclear. The first question I will tell first from the developer side, private developer side. First question is which technology to adopt. We have indigenous and imported. Indigenous, perfectly fine because it is definitely affordable with the support of Indian NPCIL, DAE and other thing, definitely affordable. But international, the cost is unknown as of now and definitely industry cannot sustain. So expectation is how to get affordable or at least firm price or a range of capex. That is the first one. And from an industry side, from a manufacturer's or supplier side, they want the program or the plan for a longer tenure instead of 1 or 2 projects. If they know for next 10 years what is the plan so that they can make the investment in the manufacturing side. So the expectation from a developer is different, expectation from the supplier side is different. So this is with this I will make it very short and we'll take questions from the expectation and aspiration side.
I think maybe.
Yeah, good evening all. Looking at the presentations for the last 2 days, there are 3 points which I jotted down. One is about the public-private collaboration. How do we want to go ahead with that? A kind of a roadmap is required. And when we talk about the technology point of view, for example, now today we are supplying the DG set, but our aspirations will go into the non-diesel area also. So to go with that, so there has to be a clear roadmap need to be seen. Just to create a similar kind of situation with the defense, segment, when they talk about the, the Atmanirbhar kind of a policy, they have clear-cut laid down the make one, make two kind of a categories where the government is taking the complete initiative in terms of funding the projects, maybe at the 70% level, then the industry has to fund in for 30% or so. This kind of thing will enable the industry to come forward. Because from our perspective, what happens is nuclear is a very niche market. And looking at the scale, what we are talking about, going for 100 gigawatts, so it's something 11 times we are looking at, and that's with a very, very less time span. So with that kind of thing space, I think definitely this kind of clarity is required. Second is about the technology level up kind of thing that we'll have to look up. When we are looking at the shifting from the component supplier to a technology partner, kind of thing shift, what all is required, pertaining particularly for the micro, reactors, particularly is of interest to us, maybe a 10 megawatt, 5 megawatt kind of a size, because what I heard so far is 55 gigawatts, but still then the things can be thought of, going at the micro level to the, the best possible, because earlier what I heard about the SMRs, we were looking at even at the district levels, to take care of the, that kind of electricity requirement. So I think we should continue on that and go more on that micro, reactor kind of thing. So this is what I feel like. And the third point is the long-term policy visibility. Now we need to seek the clarity about the legislative framework for the nuclear energy to justify the R&D investment. Because if we have to go upfront for the R&D investment, that we need to have the clarity. Of course, this kind of forum is giving more insights to the industry as to, what is the kind of regulations are required, what are the quality things are required. All these things are clear, but there has to be some kind of a framework need to be seen before we put in the money. And I think the first point which I said, if the government encourages the, share some kind of funding, that will really help, is what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, Sharan
Good evening. So I am now speaking from private industry point of view. So we are looking for localization, and we hope that localization will bring down the cost. We are certainly interested in nuclear, but we will look for localization so that costs should come down. And only after cost will come down, then only we will venture.
I'll give some answers and then. First question, program details. This is a very important question from the perspective of private industry. DAE has released vision documents a few months back. There are 3 vision documents. They are available on the website of DAE, where it is clearly indicated how much of 100 gigawatt will be done by NPCIL, and this was also Mr. Pathak, CMD NPCIL, also spoke about it yesterday, that 55 megawatt will be done by DAE. Breakup of that as to what kind of reactors they will be, that also will be given. And again, what Mr. Pathak spoke yesterday was the fact that 10 reactors of 700 megawatt in fleet mode, financial sanction has already been obtained. And for the second fleet of 10 reactors of 700 megawatt, the processing is going on. Very soon there will be a financial sanction for that. So currently, as I see, there are ultimately going to be as we proceed forward, 26 reactors of 700 megawatt rating, and I think this is a fairly large program for private industry to see in terms of build-up of manufacturing infrastructure. I think I like to make one comment on micro-reactors. I think you must have heard Dr. Manchanda when he was right in the beginning, he spoke about how micro-reactor was transported in USA from California to Utah for testing purposes. When this reactor was transported, it was without fuel. HALEU fuel it will be using, and that is yet to be added. And there was a statement by Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, Michael Duffy. So it's very important to see what is the objective of that micro reactor. I'll just read that objective. Powering next generation warfare will require us to move faster than our adversaries, to build a system that doesn't just equip our war fighters to fight, but equip them to win at extraordinary speed. Today is a monumental step towards building that system. By supporting the industrial base and its capacity to innovate, we accelerate the delivery of resilient power to where it is needed. If today, in the beginning of this year, US went into Venezuela and picked up the president there, tomorrow they want to do similar things somewhere else, they will fly these micro-reactors and install there. So do we have that kind of requirement in our country? Power Ministry is saying again and again that grid has been extended to every nook and corner of India. Now what we have to examine whether it is cost effective to extend the grid a little further or set up a micro reactor at that location. And the cost benefit analysis will tell you, I just gave the cost of a new scale reactor which is 77 megawatt. It is coming out to be 116 crores per megawatt. Tomorrow, if you have a 1 megawatt reactor, cost will be maybe 250 crores per megawatt. Can we afford it? I think Mr. Raghavan made the point of affordability. That question immediately comes. It's going to be cost effective to extend the grid where power is not available, because grid has been mostly extended to all corners of India. What we need, we might need some capacity, reactor capacity, it will be only a couple of them for our habited islands like Andaman Nicobar. And that requirement will be so small that will not justify industry to set up a large infrastructure for that. And second point which we must remember is the fact that when the reactor size reduces, I think simple arithmetic tells you that surface area to volume is proportional to 1 by R. Lesser the radius, more is the surface volume. That means neutron leakage for small reactors will be more. So fuel burn up, fuel consumption will increase because of neutron leakage. The structural material which will be exposed to radiation and which ultimately has to be decommissioned, that amount will increase. So for military purposes, the way Undersecretary Duffy of USA has given a statement, yes, it's a requirement for them. Do we have that requirement? That analysis needs to be done before we think that we have to make that kind of reactors. Then I think decarbonization of hard-to-abate sector, yes, it is an important point. But I think building large reactors, and CMD and PCI yesterday repeatedly said that we should go in for large reactors because they will be cost effective. And we can have 700 megawatt PSWR. We have already set up 2 reactors with in technical cooperation with Russian Federation and 4 under construction. And we can have similar reactors of that size, which will be cost effective and affordable, which industry will be able to get electricity for decarbonization. And international cost is definitely unknown. And the point which Shuklaji made in his talk is the design support during lifetime. That question will arise when we are importing reactors. So I think localization is very important. I'll stop here. Maybe if you want to make some point, or we open to ask questions from the audience.
No, not some points, because I had liberal, I think, interactions. But there were some questions which we promised that we will do now. One of your questions on, I think you asked about cost yesterday, the financial burden. So the cost of funds is that 30% is the equity as accepted, maximum 30% is accepted in the tariff calculations. So you can have less, you can have even zero. And remaining is taken as debt from wherever you can. Now debt, the cost of debt is what will be your requirement, and today Raghavanji very nicely explained that particularly the debt repayment during the construction period is what troubles you, because you have to pay, your plant is not ready, it is not started paying back you. So therefore the construction time has to be minimized, and today Sharan explained that it can be done up to 5 years. So the cost of funds actually pinches you much more during that period. But capital cost being high, the tariff may not also be acceptable in the initial, because it is front loaded. Capital effect comes in the front initial years very high. And if you see the tariff notification issued by DAE last year for next 5 years, it acknowledges this, and it permits the utility, that is NPCL right now, to have less return on equity for initial years and later on build it up so that the tariff is acceptable, provided you sign PA, the agreement for purchase for a longer period. So that flexibility is available and that can be managed. But what Raghavan mentioned in the morning, that if you can complete the project in 5 years, and that has been the experience, we can compete with anybody. So the cost of funds, the burden comes actually from the debt which you take. And once the company is well established, it is profit earning, you get debt at a very reasonable price. And that is the experience of NPCIL. So it depends on your account books also, at what rate you get it. So that is the question. You have any other? No.
Yeah, so the rate at which you get the debt versus what return you can get from an alternate investment, are they both matching?
See, return on equity is about 15.5%, which is quite high. And then NPCL is earning profit. Not only NPCL is earning, in the whole power sector, that is the permitted return on equity. So return on equity is quite high, and in nuclear power you have a lot of equity. 30% is quite a large amount, which may not be in solar. So on that equity you earn a lot of money, and you can reinvest, and that is how progressively NPCL is able to reinvest the money. Of course, if you want to expand the program suddenly to 100 gigawatts, you need government support. It cannot be built on the small projects. Well, there was one, okay, yeah, please.
Sir, I have one question. What would be the requirement of seismic zonation for establishing SMR?
Seismic requirement for establishing SMRs.
No, your question.
I think zoning, that is okay. As on today, whatever is there, now it depends on what technology you are adopting. If it is light water based, then light water reactor, whatever in the code is given. Now subsequently it has to be looked into, as somebody was yesterday pointing out that dampers are there. If by technology you are able to prove the safety case, then it can be taken up.
See, you cannot have a nuclear power project or anything if you know that just below you is the fault, not even a building in the city. So you cannot build a city on the fault. But if the fault is, today they are saying 5 kilometers, but if you can justify that at 4 kilometers also you can design, yes. And he has said that ARB is quite open to any such suggestions. It is a knowledge-based organization.
Yeah, because during the today's presentation for SMR, it was given a statement that no seismic zonation requirement will be.
I think, let me add that SMR, where M stands for modular, modularity is a concept for construction. Now, when we look at safety, security, safeguards, safety will be as a function of the design features as a whole. The how you construct it doesn't affect safety, it is how you have designed the reactor. So this is something which we should see that, and as Shuklaji explained, they are open to having a look at a new design and proceeding further. And even with regard to liability, the Shanti Act very clearly says, which I pointed out, liability amount can also be examined depending upon the design. Just by saying it is SMR doesn't mean anything. And one more aspect, I do not know, I was not present most of the time, somebody might have highlighted about siting, is physical security. Can we construct a nuclear power plant at India-Pakistan border? So I think we have to answer these questions. When Shuklaji was explaining licensing requirement for siting, something will come from DAE also. These issues will be examined by MHA also. We know that these days people with a shoulder-based rocket can launch something. How will that influence exclusion zone? That has to be examined. Just, can we make it zero? So we are living in a disturbed geopolitical geography. Let us keep those things also in mind. So there are many things which have to be examined. Just making statements is not enough.
Thank you.
But I think it's good that alternate viewpoint was presented in this forum so that people know people are having different views also.
Yeah, please.
Hello. So my name is Shubhajyoti Ghosh. I'm from EDF. My question to you is regarding the licensing aspect, more for Shuklaji, with reference to slide 13 of your presentation. So tomorrow, if I am bringing an SMR design to sell to the private sector, they will definitely, first thing they'll ask me is, what is the cost per megawatt? Now, we can give them a tentative idea based on our basic design. But then eventually we will have to go to the regulator to get it licensed. Now, during the licensing process, if let's say some during design review, some comments come, some design changes are requested, that will then increase my cost. This has been our experience when negotiating with NPCIL for the EPR. And we anticipate that this will also be the case in the future for any future reactor designs, not just for us, but for any design providers. So now which comes to this question. Tomorrow, now with the Shanti Act making a lot of changes, the licensing aspect, there has not really been any major change from what was being practiced in the past. How do we address this? What is your guidance for us, original equipment manufacturers, on how to approach this issue? Because this is now a very cost-sensitive market. And in the UK and US, you have a design which gets licensed first, and then on that basis you approach the private players or the utilities. So the utility has a more realistic price, cost per megawatt. So in the Indian market going forward, what is your guidance? How should we go about tackling this situation?
I think I had to try to bring it out, that delinking of site and design. If you design your particular reactor or the design with the bounding condition, that these are the environmental conditions, these are the external event conditions which it can take care. Through that, you can have a pre-review. This is what has been discussed and it has gone through the multi-tier review process. This is feasible to delink the design and site. So that part, if you can go through, there is the chances of having further future changes which may affect significantly the cost may not arise. All major part, because like your EPR, if you remember that 2-3 times there has been meetings and pre-consultation where AERB has clarified the stand very clearly. I think, so
sir,
you know the thing, rather than attempting now leak before break and those issues, what stand AERB has is known to you. Now you have to overcome over that.
So
AERB cannot do anything in that.
Of course. But sir, in the past, we had the support of NPCIL, because NPCIL was not only just a client, they were also a knowledgeable partner, because they themselves are nuclear reactor designers. And you mentioned during your presentation as well that pehle NPCIL tha, to you knew how they are going to work and what is their level of knowledge. But now we are dealing with private sector who does not have those same nuclear credentials. So then will we be coming directly first to you, to AERB that is, and say, okay, this is our design, it has been approved by our our regulators and some other international regulators, what is your opinion? Can you please give us your preliminary reviews? Is that now a possibility?
The pre-consultation is still a possibility. Now what you are telling is, if you see the process is before you come to the AERB, the formal process. Now what I am talking about is, this is a mechanism built in as a part and parcel of the culture of AERB that we allow pre-consultation. That is what AERB has been following, and this is available in our public domain documents. Now what you are telling is, the formal part is first whether EPR will be acceptable in India or not. So for that you have to have a license of DAE. So unless until you get the license from DAE, you cannot approach to AERB for getting the safety authorization. You are getting my point.
No, his question is slightly different.
You are mentioning about the control license.
Yeah. No, I think your question is slightly different, that earlier you had a support of NPCIL. In fact, you would have seen that at NPCIL itself, many things are not accepted. There is no point in going to AERB. Many things are not accepted because they know the safety.
If a new design is being developed within India, say, then still we have to go to DAE and get the license and come to AERB, or can we go to AERB?
This Grover.
I think, let me again refer to Shukla's talk. He explained very clearly that the control function and safety authorization function are two different functions. The control function will be taken care of by DAE. DAE is yet to formulate, or they are currently working on licensing requirements. That's a time-consuming process. They will come up with licensing requirement. When anyone wants to set up a nuclear power plant, they have to approach DAE for a license. Safety authorization will come thereafter, where the design part has to be submitted to Atomic Energy Regulatory Board for safety authorization. We have to remember these two things are now separate. Earlier, since everything was with NPCIL or Bhavini, this licensing requirement was not there, because if NPCIL has to set up a plant, they seek approval of Atomic Energy Commission, they seek approval of Cabinet. That licensing requirements are kind of redundant. Now, private sector will not go to Commission for approval or Cabinet for approval. They have to therefore seek a license, and they will come to DAE. What kind of licensing requirement DAE brings out is an unknown at this moment. But I can draw a parallel in the country with civil aviation requirements. If you go to the website of Civil Aviation Ministry, their requirements spread into 11 chapters. For example, they have a requirement if somebody wants to bring a aircraft, depending on how many seater it is, how much equity they should have. Equity for a person who wants to buy a 737 MAX and operate a single aircraft will be something. If they want to have a fleet of 10 aircraft, there is something. So those requirements are built in there. Now, if somebody wants to set up, a company wants to set up 2 reactors of 700 megawatt, straight away 700 into 30, 700 into 21 crores per megawatt, 30% of that is the equity requirement. That company should have a paid up capital of that kind. So I'm just examining only one point I'm giving. This way, when a private industry is coming forward, all these issues will have to be examined and they have to be looked at. Then one thing which is very clearly built in the Shanti Act, a company which is owned, controlled, or some one more word is there, owned, controlled, and by entities which are inimical to defense of India will not be permitted. So this ownership details will be examined. So all these things will be developed and they will be there in the act here. So these issues are yet to come. And how much time it will take, though, that's the next question which I'm going, I know you will be asking. The Minister of State for Atomic Energy has given a statement of 3 months. And I feel he's over-optimistic, is giving this timeline. If it can be done in 1 year, I'll be happy.
Sir, my question is, for a new MMR or SMR to be developed by an Indian company.
So first, let us stop talking of MR or SMR, just the reactor. Whether it is SMR or a micro, it's the material.
Perfect.
That Shuklaji has answered several times that AERB is open to pre-consultation. That answer has been given. I think twice he has said already.
That is already existing. There is nothing
This
to do with
existing mechanism,
We have reviewed EPR, we have reviewed HWR, and any reactor.
pre-consultation is a possibility that we are saying. But licensing part, that what should be the framework, we do not know today.
Grover, so what you're saying is, okay, for Indian companies designing reactors, very clear. But for foreign companies like us, we can also now directly approach AERB for pre-consultation?
No.
Well, there are a lot of challenges for the industry when privatization has been opened. Similar challenges exist in DAE as well as in AERB also today. They are also working out how to handle the situation.
Okay.
Because we have been familiar with NPCIL, I am talking on behalf of AERB, the utility where from chairman level to the last worker is well trained. They have passed through the same training school as we have passed through. So we know that he is knowledgeable. For example, VVR is a foreign reactor. But AERB never permitted, never agreed to talk directly to the designers there or construction people there. We always talk to NPCIL. NPCIL had to acquire more knowledge and over the time. So, but now this has to be broken because now there is no intermediate person like NPCIL. As it happens, in US or many other countries, there are consulting agencies who are familiar with the total processes. In our own country also, for example, Ministry of Environment and Forest, there are some consultants who they accredit based on their background, and they can consult MOEF and meet MOEF requirement. Similar thing may emerge, but it is still under the process of thinking, and it will take a lot of time because we have been used to a process, and now it is something totally new. A foreign company has some small office here, and they may not be aware of the full technological details, but some consultants have to pick it up in India. So it is a challenge both for DAE and AERB also how to work it out in favor of privatization. All the rules will have to be made in favor of privatization. So there is no immediate answer available today on the board.
But we can look forward to guidance in the future.
I think I will just tell you. I think I tried to tell this thing that why this control and safety regulation distinction we started looking at more deeply. The moment joint venture came. Now the example is there. It is not by that. Now you see, for NPCIL, we were knowing that they have the mandate. Only one company has the mandate for establishing this. Now it came that new joint venture, Ashwini. You see, people felt very bad when we say, I don't recognize. As a chairman AERB, I said this, I don't recognize Ashwini. Because Ashwini cannot approach directly to me. I do not know who they are, whether they have the organization capability, whether they have the financial capability, I do not know. And finally what happened is now this GHAVP project, for which siting consent was given by AERB to NPCIL. That consent was to be transferred to the Ashwini. How it was done? It is not that we have, at least AERB knows what we have to do. It was asked that the same thing that they have to get from the DAE. They got the full thing that this is this type of company and it fulfills the requirement of Atomic Energy Act and this consent can be transferred. After that only we have done. So if you want to approach to AERB, first you have to approach to DAE. They will guide you what way you should go about it. First they have to give something in writing. That only will come to AERB. With that when you come, then AERB will entertain. Other people, whether it is Indian or abroad, they have to come through this mechanism now as per Shanti Act.
Thank you.
I think there is a question there.
So
I am there, yeah. Mike, I think it is an extension of the same discussion what they are doing. Now, in the perspective of, say, from private participation in the nuclear program, the situation is there like that nobody will be having resources, human resources or technological competence like NPC with them. So, and there is a likely technology provider to them, maybe say 700, then maybe NPC, or for say other reactor, outside reactor, country reactor, there will be respective country, whoever the technology suppliers are there. Now to go ahead, whether this technology supplier can directly access for the say generic clearance, regulatory clearance to the AERB and site specific things, so that once the design is licensed, say, and then site specific things can be taken up with the help of those technology suppliers.
Well, I think these things will evolve. Let me tell you our first point with regard to manpower, trained manpower being not available with private sector. If you see a parallel, when Electricity Act was modified in 2003, private sector was permitted. For I think almost close to a decade, there was no activity on the private sector because again the same issue was there. And here also same thing is going to happen. Private sector, before they can really jump in, if a coal-fired plants took this long a time before private sector could really jump in, here also similar amount of time or maybe longer time will be needed. I think for the first 5 or 6 years there was no addition from private sector in coal-fired plants. Then they gradually started coming in and finally something happened. So to expect that private sector will be able to jump in the next 4 to 5 years, I do not get that kind of hope from what happened in the thermal sector.
Sir, my question is like that. Jumping means it is not like next day the plant construction will start. There is a process from the site selection onward and technology selection, all together everything is there. But there is a established technology which is proven elsewhere. Only thing what I am asking, can it be like license can be given, yes, for Indian, like suiting to the Indian codes, AERB regulation, whether this technology is acceptable, barring the site specific issues.
Pre-consultation already, I think he has said it.
No, that you see that what you are looking is like what we follow in radiation facilities, like X-ray machines and other things, where they are type approved. So that particular type is there, then there is no separate review. This concept so far has not been built in into the regulation of AERB to have the design certification. What followed is a design review, and only recording that it has gone through the review process. There is no certification. That is what I said. So safety has to be seen in totality. When you combine it with the site, put together it has to be seen. So that time only this marriage between the site and the design, that part will be done. They will not go through the already whatever has been reviewed. So indirectly it is that way. But coming to AERB, your question, main question is whether directly you can approach.
Yeah, because utility generally, I think so far utility is being entertained by the AERB. Now
It was because that utility was given very clear mandate that only utility which can build, own and operate. Now build, own, operate could be different now you are telling. And that mechanism, how government is going to license, that is DAE, they have to come out with that. So once they provide that input to you that yes, they are agreeing that you can have this particular design you want to operate. So whether you are capable of doing that or not, that they have to check during that licensing process. Once they provide that, that remaining part will be done by AERB as per practice existing.
Probably, sir, it is a suggestion from that point of view. The selection of the technology can be done. If suppose the say XYZ technology is licensed by the say regulator in India, then the user can choose out of these three. At least they will have a confidence these designs are acceptable. Barring whatever the site specific issues are there, they can be further checked or only limited to that checking.
No, if it is already approved by AERB. Yes, then if the AERB is approved 700 megawatt, for example, yes. AERB is approved 700 megawatt. Now only site specific, that will come, when this G and G1 will be issued, you will find that this exists there. But what your question is, if it has been approved in a foreign country, still AERB will look at it in detail. You know that our norms somewhere are different. They are, I would say, superior. Internationally also it is recognized. For example, this is a country which had assumed right from beginning that station blackout can be indefinite. Right? When we talk to EPR, they said 2 hours. When we talk to Japan, they said 2 hours. Not in India. Because our grids used to fail left and right when we started nuclear power. So we have accordingly built the defense in depth. That the power sources are different for different defense in depth. It has been there as our practice. This is one example. Full VVR design had to permit that air cooling because we said no, indefinite station blackout. So we will have to review it detail. Yes, in the background we will keep that somebody else has also reviewed it. That doesn't mean that AERB will not review a foreign design. Proven design always helps. And in fact, that is CMD also mentioned that the industry should first go for proven designs. SMRs are not proven. 700 megawatt, other day, Single explained that, 540 copy. But there are many new designs, many new additions, and it took a lot of time to review till the last day. So this first of its kind, you should not try to start with. You should try with a proven design. And CMD also very, lightly mentioned that PWR will be superior for industry compared to PHWR. Because PHWR, this daily opening the reactor and fueling it needs very special skills, very special precautions. So PWR that way is convenient that after 18 months you can open it. And that again, you need not open. There are agencies which can do that job for you. So please, to start with, use a proven design and do not venture into new designs till somebody else has used it for few years, not just made it critical.
Reference plant experience.
Yeah, it's already built in.
I think I was also in the same line, sir. I was just saying that to be specific, today, say BVR design, maybe 1200 what they are talking now, AP 1000 or say EDF. These are the 3-4 options are available generally in the market.
It would have been issued by AERB. He did review VVR, no? And
Okay, so if this is what I'm telling in parallel, if these technology supplier reach to AERB for licensing and review is complete other than the site specific issues. And that will give the assurance to the user, say in the private sector, कि these are the approved design except for the site specific things. So I can go for these designs. It will make the speed faster and selection also will be easy.
I think there was for imported reactors, specifically one slide was there where that new build, what was one condition was that it should be licensable at the country of origin. Second was the operating experience, reference plant should be there. That does not mean that it will be licensed immediately. Finally, it will be seen against our codal requirement. So that review has to go through. That whatever.
One last question on that. Whether the technology supplier can directly come to AERB for that, then every utility, say proposer, a utility will have to come to you with the different technology, then only AERB will be reviewing it.
Anybody coming to AERB for build, own, operate, any of this thing, he has the DAE license. DAE, something has to be there. Because whether government of India, I put that in the control, you see so many things are there. There are many international treaties, I do not know that AERB cannot check those things. So those things are to be checked at the government level. Once they are satisfied, yes, this entity can work on this type of reactor can come, how fuel cycle, overall thing has to be seen. Ultimately, finally, that fuel will go back to the somewhere. So all those things has to be seen by DAE, and when they agree, yes, it is feasible, then only AERB can entertain, not before that.
Okay, probably I am not able to get the answer for my query. I'm sorry to say so, because what is the plan?
Can you repeat that design?
No, it has to be
Only utility can approach it. This is the answer. I think as on today, only a utility can approach AERB. Tomorrow what happens, when the rules are notified, we will know it. There is no design certification. A designer can always have a utility tag with it and approach for it. But they have to first, like that, there will be infinite number of designs coming from schools and colleges. Let me tell you, that can happen.
So, sir is asking, if there is no design certificate.
As on today, if tomorrow, as I said, rules are yet to be framed, as on today, a utility has to approach DAE, get a license, then approach AERB for that particular design for certification. Okay. Any other question? I think then one question from your side which we have not answered was with regard to R&D clarity. I did not get exactly what you wanted. We can, if you want to clarify now, we can.
Yeah. For example, diesel replacement, they have an option.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that today we are in the emergency DG set business. So we have made the hydrogen engine also. The thing is that there are offshoots which are available within the nuclear power plant. So if we have to go for the further kind of a setup, then will there be any kind of, things required, funding and other things, whether that, support would be available?
Oh, I think that is something which we do not know. These policies are evolved at the government level. Even, for example, just let me add one point here. Many newspapers have reported that FDI is permitted in the nuclear sector. But the fact is, FDI is never a part of any act by Government of India. FDI policy is decided by a separate department altogether. They keep on revising FDI policy, but I do not know from where newspapers and investment agencies are saying 49% FDI allowed. All the act says is that any entity which is owned, controlled or dominated by interests inimical to India cannot be allowed. Besides that, act doesn't say anything. That policy is periodically revised by a ministry, Department of Industrial Promotion and Internal Trade. They will revise it and put it on their website. When will that happen? One doesn't know. Whether that will happen, that also one doesn't know. So this is, those kind of things are controlled by separate ministry, and this, what your point is, what kind of subsidies government will, DA doesn't have that kind of mandate. That mandate is with the Ministry of Heavy Industries, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. They will announce it. So I don't think.
My only point was that we have the engine ready, and since the ultimate objective is to generate the electricity, if the hydrogen is made available with the required quality, what is required, we can generate the electricity further also that level, because the hydrogen is available in every nuclear power plant. So if at all that is a thing, then how do we go about?
No, so far there is no discussion or thinking at that level. Okay. Let me say that all these things will evolve. So far there is nothing. Okay. So any other question?
No, but this proposal has to be come from somewhere, no? For the DAE also to look into this.
DAE will be consulted. DAE will be consulted. But this proposal will be by DIPPIT. I think I exact name, yeah, DIPPIT. They are that is the department which takes care of all this.
He is asking about some hypothetical situation where he will like to convert the hydrogen into electricity. That is what you are telling. So what I am telling, this type of some technical proposal has to be submitted by someone before any expert in DA will look into this thing. You said DA has not looked into this. You will not look into this unless you get the proposal.
Hydrogen converting to electricity is either through diesel engine or through the engine, IC engines or through fuel cells.
Gas turbine. No, I am talking about diesel engine per se.
IC engines using...
So hydrogen is available in every nuclear power plant.
No, where is available? It's not available.
This is what...
No, hydrogen is not available.
No, it is not. It can be available.
So that is what I am saying. So it can be, or in some places it is available.
No, nuclear power can be used for hydrogen generation.
Once hydrogen becomes that much available, you don't have to go to DAE at all.
I think
go to DAE, it is between NPCL and if you can prove the reliability of that particular engine, it is not a DAE business.
So hydrogen is needed by hard to abate sectors, whether it's ammonia or plastics or steel making or whatever. They need hydrogen. What we are DA is saying is hydrogen can be produced using electricity for nuclear power plants through electrolyzers, and for that purpose already dialogue is going on between DA has developed technology for alkaline electrolyzers, and two public sector oil companies are working with DA to upscale that. Or one DA can design a high temperature reactor which can produce electricity through thermochemical processes. That research, that is at the research level at the moment, and the first plant of that kind, the idea is to, this high temperature heat is available at FBTR in IG car, to couple this kind of facility with FBTR and demonstrate that, and after that, that technology also will be made available. But alkaline electrolyzer technology has already been provided to two oil companies for scaling up those electrolyzers. Indian Oil and one more. Now there are two transfers. Second also has been done, and they will scale it up and make it. And this very good work has been done in the area of high temperature generation of hydrogen. But hydrogen is not available in nuclear power plant as such. What we are advocating is some other issues, not that.
You said it can be available.
No, hydrogen. No, let me explain. Hydrogen, obviously, we are using for generator cooling today.
Correct.
And one of our plants has started producing by electrolysis for our own, replacing that hydrogen. We are producing by technology developed. But now that high temperature one, FBTR, fast breeder, it is developed by BRC, copper chloride based technology for directly thermochemically producing hydrogen. So it is much more efficient than what electrolysis does. So that demonstration plant is coming up at FBTR. Whatever BRC developed, that plant has been shifted there so that there's a heat source available. FBTR means temperature is 450 and 500. So you can use that heat and produce hydrogen. Again, it is a demonstration facility. See, hydrogen, the main issue is right now not only production, it is storage and transportation. So today you can use at the same site where you are producing, and their requirement will come from steel industry and all that. That is why they want nuclear power, not only for electricity, for production of hydrogen. So, Dr. Grover, there were a couple of questions which could not be covered during discussions. I'm looking at that. There was one question on cost of spent fuel handling, because spent fuel will be stored. I do not know who asked. What will be that cost? Today, that is built into the tariff. From last year onwards, it actually decommissioning cost or decommissioning levy has been part of the tariff right from beginning. And now the spent fuel, not storage, when you hand over to Government of India, ultimately it is a waste. So the waste will be managed by Government of India. So Government of India will charge something for that, and therefore you have to accumulate some money. And today NPCIL or there is a fund levy created which is coupled with decommissioning levy. So that is already now in process, and private industry can also similarly
They can expect
similarly they can group together and make some fund. I think all other questions have been. You said standardized sub vendors, and yesterday you said that I think that is between you and NPCL. So QAP. Right. The PHWR cost has been mentioned as 20 crores, and if India makes PWRs and BSMR is a PWR, it should be at a lesser cost because the number of systems come less. Again, somebody mentioned this. Systems are less, it uses light water. But the first one may not be that because it involves a lot of development work. So ultimately PWRs should be at a lower cost if made in India. There was one question today, or question emerged, or some discussion happened when Dr. Nayak presented, is very soon we'll enter into fuel shortage, uranium shortage. So I think Vladimir can answer this question. Whether there will be a fuel shortage when we go to 100 gigawatts.
It depends. There are some, worldwide there are fuel shortage.
Yeah.
Let's skip this one.
Thank you for that question. In any case, yes, right now in worldwide there is a uranium shortage. It's a well-known fact, and India is also suffering from that, according to my knowledge. We are actively working on increasing uranium supply, and I know that India is actively working on trying to make a fuel from thorium combining with uranium, plutonium, whatever. There are different approaches, including annealed fuel, etc. So we are in deep discussion with DPS, with DIE, with NFC, with some other Indian authorities on identifying the exact requirements of uranium and trying to satisfy them. Right now we in very active discussion with DIE on supplying samples of uranium, and basically whatever. This is also was a question, by the way. According to Shanti Bill, the bill to operate transfer of nuclear plants may be handled by private parties, but fuel supply handling and spent fuel management still will be with the government. Private parties will not be allowed or will be for independently purchasing fuel, let's say, and okay.
Because NFC will not be able to make that much of fuel.
Obviously, yeah. So we are here to help you in that. Yeah, thank you.
One question, okay?
Yes. My question is concerning the balance of plant in a nuclear power plant. So my name is Prajot from Kirloskar Oil Engines. My question is pertaining to the balance of plant. Since the private sector is involving in addition to the balance of plant and getting involved in the nuclear main reactor segment also, would there be any training programs or some knowledge sharing programs be rolled out, or are there any available programs for the private industry just in order to get acquainted with the safety and quality related factors?
Well, NPCIL is actively considering rolling out a program. Let us wait for them to finalize it. INS also, INS is doing this itself. And regarding fuel fabrication, this section 3(2)(b) clearly says that fabrication of nuclear fuel, including conversion, refining, etc., that can be taken care of.
Right. Yes,
In fact, as we have seen, there are some proven technology like 220 megawatt, 700 megawatt, VVR. Actually, cost reduction is a issue, or cost reduction has to be there. So therefore, it will come to, if we make in large number, if we agree, maybe industry agrees among ourselves, which type of technology, there are among three technology, like we see the proven technology. If large number of reactor is decided, and then supplier start activities in the beginning, like 100 reactors comes, then cost will come down. Actually, fleet mode was initiated based on that concept. Earlier, we were having two reactors. Then, by making 10 reactors, we could reduce the cost of 700 megawatt at that time. Now, if instead of 10, 100 reactors, suppose country decide, because if 100, even if it is 100, it is 70,000. Okay, so therefore let us, like some agreement occurs, okay, VVR type of reactor, maybe 10, 20, 50 reactor, or this reactor, this. So cost can reduce that way, then industry can start producing or importing and negotiation can happen. So this could be one of the way actually. This is my thought, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I think...
I have one small... See, the way NPCL has gone from 220 megawatts to 540, 700, because that seem to be more financially more relevant, more beneficial. But now, many times for this captive power station, people want a smaller unit. Whether it is possible to go the other way around, PSR, instead of 220, you want to reduce the size to 100 megawatt. So whether that will be more acceptable as a substitute for the SMR in remote areas or whatever.
Cost will be high. Again, remote areas, where are those remote areas? Let us be specific on this.
I mean, the SMR are being talked about for AI data centers and all that, for the civil plants and all that. So whether the smaller PIWR can also work.
They will be expensive. Simple.
SMRs are more expensive.
So for that we should think in terms of PWRs. The smaller the size, more is the cost per megawatt. Let us be...
So it is PWR.
PWR is the answer. There we can have a 220 megawatt PWR is already being designed by BRC and NPCIL together. I think they will launch construction after all the approvals have been obtained and proceed further on that. And that reactor, as Bhardwaj said, that will be cost effective, cost will be less because it is a simpler system. Let us hear about the progress of that particular system. Okay, I think we should now close. Yes.
I have one question. Okay, I'll ask you only. Hello. 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 Okay, looking into all this, like, will it not be a good idea that our 700 megawatt design itself, whatever we have, and we have now a program of like around 50%, mostly we will be covering in our government sector. Now, this can be multiplied, and as part of this design can be taken over by these other public sector or private entities, and go ahead, because that may enhance our speed. In addition to this 50 gigawatt which we are thinking, additional one where large reactors are required, in addition to PWR, the 700 megawatt PSWR program can also be adopted by the private industry. That way can we enhance the speed.
I think all this will evolve through discussion between private industry and NPCL. So I think all these discussions are going on. How they evolve, what happens, we'll have to wait and see. Those questions, I mean, these are commercial decisions. We cannot take them based on discussion in this forum.
Yeah, friends, I think you had a good interaction with experts in the panel discussion. So let them give a big hand and appreciation. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. As a part of this theme meeting, INS will be circulating a questionnaire to all the participants through a Google form. So I request all of you to fill the Google form. There is a small preamble to that Google form. Kindly read the preamble, and there are some 10 questions. Mostly they are around whatever has been discussed here. Please answer so that we get to the next stage. Now, this is just a beginning. So we may hold several such theme meetings for specific topics, like somebody was asking the training. So training human resources is one strength of INS. So we may concentrate on such smaller requirements that may come as a feedback from you industry people. So kindly give us that information. We will come back to you. Okay. So I will hand over to the convener.